here. Happy Friday, guys. We made it. Everybody knows I love my Fridays and I love my weekends. Today's actually going to be a really quick one. Actually, I'm not diving into anything really heavy and it's not going to be too in-depth. It's something that I've had questions on, so I figured I would just dive in and show you guys more than anything, I guess. I've had questions on what I do or how do I keep what's important or things that have, stood out to me, Bible verses and quotes, and how do I keep them in the forefront? And I know I've talked about it, right? I've talked about when you find a Bible verse and it speaks to you and you feel like it's really motivational for you, you need to hold on to it. You need to put it somewhere where you're going to be able to see it all the time and be able to revert to it and lean on it. It's just the same that if somebody says something and that is a quote that means a lot to you and is helping you push you forward through a difficult time, maybe it's the season that you're in, I've said, write it down, put it somewhere where you can see it every single day because that helps you. That'll help you lean on it. That'll remind you. That'll keep pushing you forward through the season. So as I've talked about that and I've mentioned it and I've made note of it a couple times on my other videos, I know that I've had questions on it and I've had people ask, well, where do you put your Bible verses that speak to you? And where do you write the quotes that you've heard that have spoken to you either from, listening to podcasts or watching a YouTube channel or reading a book, whatever it is, where do you have them so that you can see them every single day, so that you can refer to them every single day? So today, and let me start by saying I've been a little hesitant to show this, not because there's anything wrong with it, it's a personal thing for me. This is my thing and I really like it, so I like to kind of keep it a little private. It's kind of my little joy. But because I've had questions on it, I've decided to go ahead and show you all where I put my quotes, where I put my Bible verses so that I can see them each and every day, and it'll help remind me when the times get tough, when I am struggling, and it's also inspiration for other videos. So with that being said, I'm going to show you where I put all of my very close and loved and important quotes and Bible verses that I've come across so far that I lean on day in and day out. Let me go ahead and show you. Okay guys, so here it is. Here is my wall. This is where I put all of my quotes, all of my Bible verses that speak to me, that mean something to me, that have moved me in some way. This is where I have them. It's a chalkboard wall, I guess. It's chalkboard paint, and I put it on my wall, and I've been able to put every quote that has spoken to me, that has moved me in some way, every Bible verse that has meant the world to me, that has really helped me and let me lean on it essentially. And then I've called on it, and then I've been like, okay, Lord, I need help. And when I've gone through the Bible, it was just like that one verse that I was like, wow, I needed that. And that is really what makes it onto my wall. I chose to do the chalkboard wall because I know that as I've talked about, we go through seasons. These are not always going to be as important to me as something else, and so it's probably going to get washed away at some point and something else is going to fill it. Another quote, another verse, something that's really important to me. You guys may be able to see it. It's actually right there, and that says, when the time is right, I the Lord will make it happen. Isaiah 60:22. That's an important quote. I've struggled a lot, and that's actually something that I'm going to talk about in future videos. I'm going to talk about seasons, waiting for answers sometimes, and what I've leaned on a lot is that verse, that specific verse, to remind me that it's okay, because the promise that he gave us is, when the time is right, I the Lord will make it happen. So just one of the verses that I've leaned on, and another one that I actually used to have on my phone. And the reason I'm talking about the next one, which is actually that really big one right behind me, I'm talking about it because before I had this wall, I would just find places to write things that were really important to me and that stood out to me. And this is to kind of answer the questions for those that have asked. This is how I do it. But that doesn't mean that you all have to do it that way. This is just what works for me. It was inspiration for me. I was like, okay, I want to do this. And I went in like 1 week and I redid my entire room and I painted that wall. And I knew that's what I wanted. I knew I wanted to be able to see it day in and day out in my room, when I'm going to sleep, when I'm praying, when I'm relaxing in bed. Like, I knew that's what I wanted to see. But there's lots of other options. You could put them on a bathroom mirror, put them on sticky notes. Anywhere that you're going to see day in and day out that's going to remind you, stick it to your fridge, on your microwave, wherever you can. Stick notes there, write something there, put it on your cell phone wallpaper, on the back, either the lock screen, the home screen, whatever it is. I used to have this quote. I've talked about how I struggled with feeling like I was enough, and that was really hard for me. I came across this quote. It is Galatians 2:20. And before I had the wall, I actually had it on my phone, and it was my wallpaper as my home screen, and I would just look at it when I was struggling, when I just felt like I wasn't enough, when I really felt beaten down, when I was questioning why I wasn't worthy enough, why I just didn't feel like I was good enough, why I didn't matter. And I was just questioning everything about myself. I would lean on that verse. And it moved from there. Then it went to my wall, and I actually now have it tattooed right here. Probably can't see it because it's very small, but now I actually have Galatians 2:20 across here, and it's just that constant reminder. And for those of you who are not familiar with that verse, it is, I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I now live, I live by believing in God's Son, who loved me and took the punishment for my sins. That was a reminder to me that you don't have to do anything because you're already good enough in my eyes. I've already chosen you. I've already died for you. I already love you enough. So whenever I was struggling and I just feel like I'm not good enough, I'm just not pretty enough, I'm not measuring up to what society is trying to say that I should measure up to, it was a good way to remind myself that you are good enough because he says so. You do matter because he says so. And you mattered enough for him to die for you. And it was a good reminder that Jesus already chose you. He loves you enough just the way you are. Just turn to him. So it was a big, important verse for me to hold on to. So it was actually the first one that made it on my wall. And again, it's just wherever you put it so you can find that you lean on it that way. This is how I do it. Again, this is very personal and private for me. It's a form of like having a journal exposed, but it's something that I know is that I've needed to remind me of just how much the Lord loves me, and to remind me that when the going gets tough, keep moving forward, because we all know the Lord will never bring us to something that he won't bring us through. He is never going to make us stand in the middle of the storm by ourselves. We may feel like it, but he's not. He's always right there with us. Sometimes he's carrying us through the storm. And this is just the helpful reminder that I need, because we all go through that. We all go through our battles. We all go through self-doubt. We all go through beating ourselves up. It's just part of what it is, right? Being human, and society kind of breaking us down. And so when we're going through those times, it's important to have things like this to lean on, to remind you of everything Jesus has done for you, all the truths that he has poured into you, the truths that the Bible has to say about who you are, and the love that God has for you, and the promises that he has for us, especially when we're struggling. Just like when the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. Like, that's a promise. And he's saying that no matter what season you're in, no matter where you're struggling, no matter how you're feeling, you may think that it's not going to happen, but that just means it's because I am not saying that it's the right time. But when I say it's the right time, then it'll happen. So it's just those little reminders, things to get you through those tough times. And this has helped me, and somebody had told me to do it, and I hadn't, and then I started, and I realized just how much it's pulled me through so much and has helped me through tough times. That's it, guys. That's all I wanted to cover. I wanted to share that. I wanted to show everybody what that was. I've had a couple of questions on it, and people just curious as to where I have quotes, because I've said I have a lot, and as you can see, I have a full wall. I still have some blank spaces that are going to be filled in. But again, it's quotes and verses that are really impactful to me that make it onto my wall. So there you have it. That's where I am putting it. I hope you all have a great weekend. I hope you get to break away, connect, regroup, and get ready for the next week. I'll talk to you later. Bye.